So, yeah, another thing like about my family situation and my farm situation is there's quite a bit of history there between my father and his uncle. My great uncle Philip, he owns the farm next door, or he's really given it over to his son now, John, who yeah, because Uncle Phil's gone like a bit senile and a bit sort of not really with it anymore, you know. So yeah, he owns Craze Marsh, because and that used to be a dairy farm, because like a generation back, it was a dairy farm, sort of ending in the 80s. So my family, we're dairy farmers historically, as well as pig farmers, as well as I think at some point we've done basically everything in farming. But we've it was sort of dairy and pigs up until the middle of the 1980s, when what happens? I don't know like the whole history of it. I don't know what happened to the pig unit at all. I haven't really seen like many like remnants of it. I don't think. But at Craze Marsh there's a dairy unit there, and my dad worked on the dairy unit when he was a teenager. Then he went to college and probably worked on it then as well, and took over Tan House Farm, which is the farm that I grew up on, a farm adjacent to Craze Marsh next to it. When he was 23, so in about the middle of the 80s, I think it was, or the early 80s, when there's deregulation of stock market, houses or property became very affordable. Lots of people, I think, were trying to sell their property, and it was a buyer's market for property, but people could sell it because people suddenly had money, right? So he did that, bought Tan House, and but he had like a series of like bizarre fallings out, I think, with his uncle, my great uncle, his one of his neighbours now, right, as a newly minted farmer at Tan House. So like, what's the obvious thing to do? Really, you've got a dairy farm there, big new farm, right, Tan House, and yeah, the possibility of family connections. We're going to unite the businesses, surely. Would that not be the ideal thing to do? Because I just checked, like, milk prices now, yes. So, right, the average annual yield of a UK dairy cow in 2020 was 8,200 litres. And the milk price is high at the moment. It's pretty high at the moment. It's a nice milk price at the moment. I think it's 42 pence a litre. I will just double check that though, and I'll adjust my calculation accordingly. Milk price UK. So what's the milk price? Yeah, June 2022 has been 42.66 pence per litre. Okay, and that then multiplied by I reckon with this 400-acre farm, Tan House Farm, and Craze Marsh, in union, I reckon you get at least 300 cows there, I think. So they'll bring up to 500, maybe 600 acres, I think. And, yeah, because what are the fields again? Craze Marsh, up the hill, and one or two other. It might be 100 acres. Then again, it might be more like 150 acres in total. So say it's 300 cows, which I don't think is unreasonable. Say if it's like 2 acres per cow. Well, then it'd be 600 acres. It's a little beside the point. I say it's 200 cows actually. Why not? Okay. Yeah, at 200 cows, the turnover from that business, excluding subsidies, ignoring subsidies and everything like that, is £688,000. Now, he makes hay. He has a livery yard on his farm. He rents land for turf and grass keep for sheep and rents a few buildings. He does not make £700,000 a year in turnover. His turnover is not that high. Like with a dairy, yes, he'd have to split some of it with his uncle. Probably more like a third of it, if that. 27%. Since their farms are a lot smaller. There's not. Well, actually, I don't know how. What is it? 200 acres. If it is, then it's easily 300 dairy cows. In which case, that is £1 million in turnover. It's a 7-figure turnover. Why wouldn't you milk cows? Like, that is definitely the thing to do there. Surely, like making hay, make hay, you make silage, grass silage, really good grass silage, I reckon. It would be a really good dairy farm, or it could be, I think. No? It's bordered by 2 dairy farms. Like, why the fuck wouldn't dairy work there? Dairy works in Saudi Arabia. Works in Norway. They make it work. They make it work in Canada. Dairy works fucking everywhere. It can work anywhere. I drove past a dairy farm when I was going through Israel. Like, how do you feed dairy cows in the desert? With silage that you buy in, frankly. But, yeah, if you want milk there, you got to do that. I reckon we can dairy farm on the fucking moon if we wanted to. I'd love to see little cows in space too. So. Aww. But, if they're nice and squoze, and if that's all you need to do, you just need to squeeze them. Cows love being squeezed. This we know from Temple Grandin's work. Yeah. They love being squoze. Lovely cows. I want to get a squeeze crush. I forgot about that. Yeah. That squeeze crush. I saw thingy. Like Dad and Uncle Phil have beef that goes back, so this never happened. But John Cottle and we have beef, I don't think. I don't really talk to him all that often. I hardly see him, frankly. But, and he doesn't have social media, so there's not like any open channel of communication there. Yeah, I got to get that going. £1 million the turnover, and I reckon we can work the livery yard around it, and mostly graze the cattle. Yeah, we could accommodate. Yes, we could. I think we could. Yeah, graze it around the equine business. So we get to keep that, and we've got to keep the solar now because we've leased the land for 25 years. So I reckon 250 cows. It'd be like £800,000 or £900,000 a year. And at 30p a litre, like, it's not all that bad, frankly. It's really good money. Dairy is good money, and it's consistent, sort of. Well, it's not that consistent, but I mean, yeah, no, it isn't consistent at all. But it's, yeah, I mean, then you've got to factor in breakage and paying staff. I do understand that. However, the take-home pay, I think, would be really, really good. And then there's subsidies. So it's really something to consider. I definitely want an element of dairy there. Certainly. At least a micro dairy. And that's the other thing I consider, like 50 dairy cows, say, or maybe even 25 or something. Just supplying enough milk for a restaurant and doing that. And then having a small beef herd. And then having some sheep, some pigs, chickens, ducks, geese, etc. Be big on poultry, be big on fresh fruit and vegetables. Then I'm even thinking maybe we could farm something weird like scallops. How can we micro farm scallops? Or how can we micro farm all sorts of different mushrooms? And luckily I've got one mate I made at Plundering College who wants to be a mushroom farmer. So maybe I'll allow him a shed or something. And this will be like mushroom zone, mushroom person place. King of mushrooms. Yeah, like head of department mushroom, shroom department. But no illegal mushrooms, unless we can get a license to do it. And yes, it's a farm. There's so much potential there. And like when it comes to agricultural buildings, what do you mean? Like like what you say an agricultural building is a shed, a workshop. Start leasing out parcels of land to different people for their agricultural businesses at a small scale. Think of the potential in that. it could be wonderful, like, and got someone with a plot growing, say, mushrooms. I take taxation or rent, basically, and all this space. Oh, good God! Like they're like haymaking, a few beef cows, foot and mouths. Like, why don't you do that after foot and mouth? Like, join up like a big dairy business. Like, and it's not like foot and mouth. Like everyone goes down, so everyone's in the same boat. It doesn't really matter too much, and everyone's insured by the NFU, and the NFU's like, oh shit, they're just all going to call in their policies at once. It's like, and the farmer's like, well, yeah, obviously. And, and so on. And so on it goes. But I mean, that's life. So actually, no, I like diversification. Was that like a big dairy farm? Well, 300 cows is quite big, actually. It is quite big. And since like the national average is 150, I think, or so, or 160, and it used to be 80. That was the average size of a dairy farm. Or even lower than that. But yeah. Oh, I don't know, whatever. Figure it out. Anyway, it could be really cool, I reckon. It could be so good there. Think of agricultural building, what does that entail? Mushroom shed. Like a big shed for mushrooms. Indoor growing projects, hydroponics, polytunnels, and so on and so forth. It'd be brilliant, but he doesn't realise it. He's stuck in a reality that's never really existed, I don't think. Or it has, but it goes back to sort of like medieval barons and things, and you must hold on to your property. Like, then you must get tenants. You're gonna be a baron. Yeah. Oh no. We're starting the idea of monocultures, I think, with farming. And like, it's an American import more, I think. It's sort of like disrupted European agriculture. It's become like quite an international statement about modern agriculture. Monocultures. I think we need to move away from it. I think, yeah, like, there's a lot more potential in farming than that. And farming can be kind of different. But yeah, like diverse, but or semi-large enterprises, but with a diverse setting. I don't know. Anyway, it's worth thinking about. But yeah, this union between these two dairy farms could have benefited him hugely. Could have made us far wealthier than we are. He probably resented that his entire life. Or maybe he didn't even want it, and it's his fault that there was this breakdown in communications. And that it was actually up to him all along to really sort of like talk to Phil and say, well, like, should we do this? This could be amazing for us. You can do it. You have like all your time off. Christ, like, oh, hey, milk your cows. Well, you don't have to milk cows then. You can get a herd manager. And you can be the guy in the office doing the paperwork. Like, what the fuck is it? What the fuck happened back then that, like, caused this not to happen? Because anyone should have thought of doing this. But you did something weird, stupid and different. Oh, I don't know.